Welcome to OOTO TV, the out-of-the-office investigation from our past into the future of personal health and agriculture production. This time we're discussing regenerative agriculture and soil health practices. I'm Franklin, and as always, I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Washington.
Hey, Franklin, great to be here. You know, this topic is something else. It feels both ancient and, at the same time, totally futuristic. We're really going to get into this core connection, one I think is at the heart of our health, but almost always gets ignored.
You nailed it, Washington. It's about how the health of the dirt under our feet directly shapes our own health, right down to the cellular level. We're going to follow that incredible journey from soil to self.
So here's our game plan. We're starting with the big problem, this crisis under our feet. Got to know what's broken before we can fix it. Then we'll get into the actual principles of regeneration, the how-to guide. And that's where it gets really interesting. We'll see how soil literally builds plants, which of course affects the quality of our food. Then we bring it all home, how food acts as medicine inside our bodies and what a healthier future could look like. It's all one big connected system.
All right, let's get into it. Section 1, a crisis under our feet. This quote from the USDA really sets the scene, doesn't it? We've got more people to feed than ever before, and that's creating massive pressure. For decades, our answer has been industrial farming. And look, it did boost yields with chemicals and machines, no doubt. But it came with this huge hidden cost to the very foundation of everything, the soil.
This slide just lays it all out, the two roads we can take. On the left, that's conventional farming. All the tilling and spraying has just degraded the soil, treating it like a dead thing to prop up plants.
And that creates a vicious cycle, right, Franklin? The soil gets weaker, so you need more chemicals. The natural ecosystem is gone, so you need more pesticides. You're basically putting the whole farm on life support.
Exactly, Washington. It's a treadmill you can't get off of. But the path on the right, that's the way out. Regenerative farming isn't about sustaining a broken system. It's about actively healing it. It's a huge shift from being dependent on chemicals to creating a balanced ecosystem.
Which brings us right to Section 2, the principles of regeneration. This really gets to the heart of it, answering that huge question, what are the key elements for regenerative agriculture? This is so much more than a few new tricks, it's a whole new mindset.
The NRCS breaks it down into four main ideas. First, minimize disturbance. Plowing a field is like setting off an earthquake for the trillions of microbes living there. You're just destroying their homes and the networks they built. And that connects right to the second point, maximizing soil cover. You know, bare soil is like an open wound on the land. The sun bakes it, the rain smashes it, and the wind blows it away. Keeping it covered is like putting on a protective living bandage. That's a perfect way to put it. Then you build on that by maximizing biodiversity. Nature absolutely hates a monoculture. Planting different things confuses pests and builds a stronger, more resilient soil ecosystem underground. And finally, maybe the biggest one, maximizing the presence of living roots. A living root is constantly pumping sugars down into the soil, feeding that whole microbial community. It's the engine that builds fertility. You gotta keep that engine running.
Okay, on to Section 3, how soil shapes plants. It really starts with how we define soil health. And look at that key phrase, a vital living ecosystem. It's not dirt, it's alive. You're listening to OOTO TV with research by author Paul Below. Once you see soil that way, as a living thing, everything changes. It's an environment, a habitat. In fact, a single teaspoon of healthy soil has more living things in it than there are people on this planet. Think about that.
You can break down this ecosystem into three parts. There's the physical structure, the chemical nutrients, but the biological part, the living part, that's the one we've ignored for way too long.
And the biological part is what makes the other two work, isn't it? It's the life in the soil that builds the structure and makes the nutrients available for the plant. Without the biology, you just have a pile of rocks and chemicals.
You got it. That's the whole secret. And this has a massive effect on the plant. Studies show that plants from healthy, living soil have way more of those compounds that create flavor, aroma, and even their medicinal properties. The soil is literally the plant's pharmacy.
Which is the perfect lead-in to our next part, Section 4, the quality of food. The bottom line is simple. Healthier, living soil creates healthier, more nutrient-packed food. It's a direct connection.
And we're not just guessing here. The data backs this up. Research shows that farms using these practices can boost soil organic matter by 20% in just 5 to 10 years. That's a huge deal for holding carbon and water.
And that change underground means big benefits up top. You often see a 30% drop in the need for synthetic nitrogen fertilizers. Why? Because the soil's natural nutrient cycle is working again. The microbes are doing the job for free.
What's crazy about this slide is how consistent this is. Study after study, year after year, finds the same pattern. Regeneratively grown food just tends to have more of the good stuff, antioxidants, minerals, and less of the bad stuff.
Okay, but Franklin, I have to be the skeptic here for a second. These are real differences, I see that. But does a little more polyphenol in my food actually make a difference to my long-term health? Or is this just a cool number for a science paper?
That is the million-dollar question, Washington, and the answer is a huge yes. It makes a profound difference. And that takes us to the ultimate payoff of this entire process. Section 5, Food as Human Medicine. This is where the loop closes, connecting the dirt directly to our bodies. So let's answer it. How can these practices truly affect our mental and physical health? Let's just be crystal clear on this. Exposure to regenerative agriculture and soil health practices is critical to our health, recovery, and illness reduction. And by exposure, I mean eating the food. This isn't a small thing. It's foundational to our well-being. Here's what's happening on the most basic level. Regenerative agriculture and soil health practices stimulates a healthy environment for cellular growth and success. The nutrient-dense food gives our cells the exact materials they need to work right, fight off invaders, and repair themselves.
And this isn't just about one part of you. It's everything. This suggests our bodies and each organ and muscle depends on healthy agriculture for good health. Your heart, your brain, your immune system, they all depend on the quality of the fuel you give them.
And get this, the benefits go even further. We now see that regenerative agriculture and soil health practices can be linked to improve mood, memory, thinking, and increased longevity. The gut-brain connection is real, and it all starts with what you feed your gut.
Now let's look at how this works. These aren't just vitamins. They're specific compounds with specific jobs. Take lycopene from tomatoes. It's a powerful antioxidant that literally flips on a master switch in our cells that protects us from damage.
And look at curcumin from turmeric. That's amazing. It's a strong anti-inflammatory that shuts down the pathways that cause chronic inflammation. And we now know that kind of low-grade inflammation is a root cause of pretty much every major chronic disease out there.
That's exactly it, Washington. These compounds are medicinal. They're like information. They speak the language of our DNA, telling our bodies how to calm down, how to fight stress, how to stay in balance. We are literally eating the wisdom of the soil.
Which brings us to our last section, harvesting a healthier future. As you can see, it's going to take a team effort. Soil restoration is the biggest piece of the pie. If we don't fix the soil, nothing else matters. From there, we get nutrient-dense food. But that's where consumer awareness is key. We have to understand this connection so we can create demand for food that actually nourishes us. We have to vote with our wallets.
So if you remember just one thing from today, let it be this. The health of the soil and the health of people are not two separate issues. They aren't just linked, they are one and the same.
That really changes everything, Franklin. It means every farmer is in the healthcare business, every meal is a chance to heal, and every food policy is really a public health policy. It gives our daily choices so much more power.
And so we'll leave you with this last thought. This isn't just a farmer's problem to solve. It's a question for every single one of us. If our health starts in the soil, then what's our role in bringing it back to life?
A question that really puts the power and the opportunity right back in our own hands. Thanks for joining us today on OOTO TV.